It's March 18th, 1919, and the streets of New Orleans are raucous with the sounds of jazz music pouring from every dance club, bar, and home in the city. The city residents are doing their best to try and ward off an evil that's been threatening the city for the past year. An axeman who has a penchant for breaking into people's homes and murdering them with their own axes. But this night is special. This mysterious and dangerous figure wrote into the Times-Picayune with the demand for everyone to play jazz music on this night or incur his wrath. But who exactly is this terrorizing figure? Will the people of New Orleans ever get an answer to that question? I'm Christiana.
I'm Bree
And I'm Star.
Settle in and put on your detective caps.
because you're about to hear something strange.
Welcome, friends, to our second Snapshot mini-sode. Today we're going to be talking about a theory of who the Axeman of New Orleans actually was. Remember him from our episode about the Axeman, and we have our super special guest on from the Creepy Shit podcast today, Star. Hello, friend.
Hey!
We're so excited to have you here. Thank you for coming on with us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Do you want to go ahead and kind of introduce yourself and your podcast before we get too deep?
Yeah, I am Star. I am the host of Creepy Shit Podcast, and it is usually there's new episodes like every single Monday, and we talk about all things like true hauntings, paranormal activity, all things weird.
We love it.
Thank you so much for being on with us. We're very, very excited about this.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited too. It's going to be a good time for sure. I'm so excited to dive into this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you know about the Axeman of New Orleans? And if Bree, if you want to jump in with what you remember, feel free as well.
I'll let Star go first because she's the guest if she would like.
Oh, thanks. I would definitely, the thing that I know is that I knew he was from New Orleans and I knew that nobody knows really like who he actually is. Like he's never been identified. And I'm like, that is truly terrifying. So what actually happened to this guy? Like where I'm assuming he's
Yeah.
probably long gone now, but like like who knows, right? So
He
this
just
is just
disappeared.
I know, and vanishings like always freak me out, but they thrill me at the same time. It's like a thrill freak kind of
Yeah.
thing. So,
It's a very wild case. It's and then there was that letter that he sent, which
Yeah.
this is kind of behind the scenes stuff. It took us multiple tries for her to record it because I couldn't stop laughing. I was in the corner of this room with a blanket shoved in my mouth, so I would hold my like I was in the corner,
It
like
was so
I
such a smarmy
it
letter.
was. But it's like
yeah.
and like there were multiple survivors, so the fact that no one was able, I mean, horrible head trauma, but the fact that
Right.
no one was able to identify this person is just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll dive in here to just a brief overview of the Axeman. Listeners, in our 11th episode, which was titled Axeman, we learned about the infamous Axeman of New Orleans, a murderer who terrorized the streets of New Orleans between the years of 1917 and 1919. Also, Star, feel free to jump in absolutely anywhere. Interrupt me.
Okay.
The perpetrator, as the name suggests, brutally murdered their victims using an axe, though he did sometimes use other methods or tools, including trigger warning, a straight razor, and even a bedside lamp at one time.
And think
Like
like
straight up Sweeney Todd
yeah,
style.
Yeah,
and think like 1919.
between 17 and 19. Yeah,
Think late 19 teens bedside lamp. You're like, it's not like my Doctor Who TARDIS lamp over
it's a
there.
hefty,
Right.
It's
heavy.
like,
Heavy.
yeah,
Like seriously. And I mean, you think about like how the metal that was used
ugh,
back then, like that was no aluminum lamp. You know what I mean?
no.
Like that was dense.
Yeah, the guy was brutal.
Hmm.
And I do have another quick trigger warning in here, and then I'll get away from this. By the end of the killing streak, the Axeman had murdered six people, including a child, and severely injured, yeah, and severely injured six others.
Wow.
This guy was,
So a total of 12 victims
mhm.
altogether.
Yes,
Oh
yep.
my goodness. That's insane.
I wonder, like, this is a morbid question right here.
Love
What
it. The
I
morbid, the merrier.
she smiled because she loves morbid.
I do.
Yes, I do too.
After I said it, I'm like, that's a like a trigger. That's like a
It's like you triggered a sleeper agent.
yeah,
Yes.
like when I like when I say like CARRIDE to my dog. I can't say it 'cause it's an but it's such like I wonder what was the largest killings to one serial killer at that time.
Yeah,
Ooh.
like the comparison, like
Yeah.
almost, and again, morbid, but like who was in the lead?
Yeah.
Like who was in the lead?
Right.
Like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it's so creepy.
This is why we do these podcasts
Yeah.
because
Right?
we ask these questions. There is no
Yes.
shame here. One of the stranger parts of this case was the letter sent to the newspaper, the Times-Picayune. We referenced this. The letter was supposedly written from the killer himself or themselves and demanded that everyone in the city play jazz music on March 18th, 1919, the Tuesday after the letter was posted in this newspaper, to avoid any strikes from the killer on that night. He said, if you play jazz music and go crazy with it, I won't kill anyone, at least on that night. Yes. Weird.
Yeah, I refer to it as
Right?
like, and I don't mean this in like a bad way. It reminded me of like the Passover story.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And like what like jazz, like I understand jazz. I mean, I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
if you love, so apparently he's a huge jazz fan and you're off the
Apparently.
hook.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Which that's also incredibly extreme. So he's definitely an extremist. But here's my other question with this too. So, and we know for sure that this was male, right? Like this couldn't have been a woman.
This person, I keep saying he, I
Uh-huh.
slip into it because he's known as the Axeman.
Right.
This person was never discovered. So
Right.
It could
So
have been a
like
woman.
could have
could
been
it have been? Like
possibly.
possibly, but I don't know because when I think back to like this era, like this
Hmm.
time in history, I feel like women were were not necessarily the ones getting their hands dirty, but they were the ones orchestrating things.
Yeah.
Does that make
True.
sense?
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'm like stretching the possibilities of this too far. So, anyway,
It's
okay.
we talked about it though too because the way this person was getting into people's homes in a lot of cases,
Mhm.
it varied a little bit. Like there was one victim that unfortunately had a window open, so the guy
Yeah.
got in that way. But a lot of times what was happening was a panel in a door was being chiseled out and the person was slipping in.
Wow.
But not a big panel. Like I probably could have gotten through it.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
I'm 5'4", not a huge person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Which
things
was
like and things back then too are not constructed the way they are today.
Oh.
mhm.
Like I feel like homes back then were far more frail, if that
Sure.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
they weren't really constructed very well,
Mhm.
but wow, but the determination to still like chisel your way through a
Yeah.
door panel, like that
Yeah.
takes time, patience, not to mention you probably have to go really slow in
To keep
order to not wake them or
Yeah.
like
mhm.
freak them out.
Right.
So, wow, the determination on this is just insane to me.
Yeah. But it brought up the question with us. It's like if that's such a tiny panel, this was either a I would imagine a fairly small gentleman or
Yeah.
it could have been a woman.
Or, but
Eh,
what you said earlier, Star, maybe there was like, maybe it was a guy doing the swinging, for like lack of a better way to put it, but
uh,
it could have been a woman organizing it, or even like she could get in, get the door open, and let them in.
Oh, true.
yeah.
Or a child. Let's make it
Right?
even more horrifying. Um,
Yes.
There's
Totally.
so many thoughts
Definitely.
as to what this could have been, but we'll go into one of them here briefly. So, well, that's not briefly. This is
the whole point is to talk about the different potential murders.
so back to this letter. To avoid incurring the wrath of the Axeman, the people of New Orleans did play jazz music all through that designated night, and no attacks occurred. However, authorities did eventually come to the conclusion that the letter was a hoax and not sent from the killer at all. So either the
Oh.
killer saw that letter in the paper and decided to play along, or it just was a coincidence.
Uh,
But it turned out the most accepted theory is the letter was written by a gentleman who was a composer, and he this gentleman released his composition that he titled the Axeman. I believe it's called the Axeman's Jazz, if I remember
It was
correctly.
like it didn't have the word like daddy in it.
Yeah, don't scare me, Papa.
Papa. There we go. We were
Don't scare me, Papa.
I was close.
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh. That's the whole thing. We'll tell you about it another time.
It's a wild. That's a joke.
That's a joke, yeah.
But he claimed to have written this entire composition the night while he basically said he was up waiting for the Axeman while everyone was playing jazz. But it was one of those when people started looking into it, they were like, so you wrote this composition, you managed to write out a whole bunch of sheet music, copy it, and then start selling it like 2 days after this letter was posted. 2 days after,
Yeah.
or not 2 days after the letter was posted, 2 days after this Axeman was supposed to hit.
Uh,
Sus.
yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
there's,
Because he would have been hand copying it.
I think so.
Okay, and I mean,
More than
like,
likely.
I know, like, was it Beethoven or Bach did that because he was a last minute champ
Right.
and for a whole orchestra. But, like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna make 200 copies by hand, that's to hand write out music. That takes forever in a day.
Yeah.
That takes forever in a day. Like,
Yeah.
I just think about sheet music in general.
Mhm.
And like, I know my husband, he composes music,
Oh,
and
cool.
it's like, it takes him so long to
Mhm.
like get all those different sections of music, not even just to write them, but then to also get them to align.
Yes,
Mhm.
Like,
yeah.
are you kidding? That's so like, was he like friends with the X-Man? Like, did they work out a deal? Like,
That would be a plot twist.
That would
Can
be a
you?
plot twist.
right?
That would be, I think at this point, anything's almost possible.
Yeah.
Right? Anything is possible.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, after the hoax letter, the Axeman, well, not unfortunately, the Axeman attacks stopped as quickly as they started, and unfortunately, the killer was never caught or identified, as we've been talking about. There is a theory as to who this mysterious figure may be, which brings us to the meat of the minisode today.
Sweet. And
Sorry.
it's not even going to be minced. I love it.
Yes. So I want to go over briefly, the very last Axeman case, because the theory as to who the Axeman is ties in directly with the last purported victim
Okay.
of this guy. This is the last victim of the Axeman was a gentleman named Mike Pepitone. The attack occurred the night of October 27th, 1919. Mike Pepitone and his wife Esther were sleeping when Esther suddenly woke to hear her husband screaming.
That poor
And
woman.
yes, again, I want to give a quick trigger here because this is pretty brutal. Mike was violently beaten to death. He was hit 18 times around the head with a murder weapon described as, quote, a heavy nut and bolt, similar to the type of tool that is used to anchor down circus tents.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a brutal death.
That's wow. That is really gnarly.
Yes.
Mm.
Esther did see, his wife did say she saw two dark figures fleeing the scene, but was unable to get any accurate descriptions of them. All she was really able to tell was that they were big. They were two big dudes. There
See,
were,
it was the musician.
yeah, truly. Yeah, there is. There were some conflicting details I noted here that I just want to stay in to be fully transparent. This is when I was doing the research. The Wikipedia article stated Esther actually saw her husband's assailant attacking him with an axe, but and it only mentioned that she saw one assailant rather than two.
Uh-huh.
A Smithsonian article that I read indicated that this particular murder could have been related to a vendetta rather than it being an attack by the Axeman.
Ooh. And
Um,
you think about like mobster times and like
mhm.
uh, card playing was so huge during that time, like
Yeah,
playing the
definitely.
pokers and the whatnots, like
Yep. And
mhm.
vendetta crime was
Huge.
huge, yeah, is in this area of New Orleans with the Italian community. It
Mhm.
wasn't necessarily uncommon.
Wasn't there like a Vendetta Alley or something that would sort of make a good
Yeah.
band name?
Yeah, there was Vendetta
Yeah.
Alley because so
Yep.
many people got murdered there.
That's the stuff I remember from episodes, not the actual content, by the way. Vendetta
It's
Alley.
okay. I'm the same way.
It's stuff like that that sticks though, because
Mm.
it's
It
just like that's
is.
so in a sense like it's horrible, but I'm like that's metal. Like,
Right? It
so metal.
is. So gnarly.
So I want to talk about what happened to Esther here in all this.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask you that too. I'm like, so what happened to her?
Well, after the murder of her husband, Esther left New Orleans to start anew in Los Angeles, California. It was there that she met a man named Angelo Albano, she did eventually marry. 2 years later, on the second anniversary of her first husband's death, Angelo disappeared.
Huh.
I tried to research further into this and I couldn't find anything.
Uh,
So he just off the face of the map.
That's a bit
Wow.
sketchy.
Yeah, it's weird. On
Vanishings are always weird.
They are.
Mhm. Yes. So on December 5th, 1921, Esther received a visit from a man by the name of Joseph Mumfree. And I want to spell that because the spelling kind of is important later. It's Mumfre. Mumfree, unfortunately, was not on a social visit. He demanded that Esther hand over all her jewelry along with $500. He also made a threat that, yeah, he also made a threat that if she didn't give him what he wanted, he would, quote, kill her the same way he killed her husband.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wait. The second
Whoa.
husband.
The second husband. Okay. Not the one in New
Correct?
Orleans.
The way I understood it was kill her the way he killed her first husband.
Oh.
That's the way I understood the part.
Oh.
It could have been Albano though.
Okay.
We're gonna kind of tie all this together. Don't worry.
Okay.
This guy has to be more specific. I'm sorry. When he goes to threaten people, he has to
Well,
make sure
and
he's
like
doing it
Can
correctly.
seriously,
you imagine
like
Esther?
I've got this weird vision in my head. Like, so he just strolls up, knock, knock, knock. Yo, Esther, give me your shit. And like, like,
Can,
wow,
can you
like the
imagine? She just
audacity.
right,
Yeah.
and then she just looks at me and goes, "Which one?
Which
Like
one?
what
Yeah,
our move?"
Gotta be more specific here, friend.
right. Like, hang on.
So supposedly, Esther claimed that she would comply with the man's demands. She went to her bedroom to collect her valuables for him, but she didn't collect jewelry or money. She picked up her pistol, left the bedroom, and shot him to death, firing a total of 11 times.
You go, girl.
Good girl, yes,
She's like,
yes,
Honestly,
she's like, listen, this is not like you're gonna threaten me.
yeah. Like, you come
yeah,
into
You're gonna
my
threaten me.
house.
It's like,
Mm-mm.
like not in this house. And honestly, like you said, the audacity of this guy just showing up at her house and just I picture if he probably didn't even follow her to the bedroom. He was just like, "Oh, she's gonna go get this.
Right.
I can overpower her."
Because that would have been my thought. Like, he would have followed her. He could have like done terrible, unspeakable things in
Yeah,
yeah.
order to get his way. Like,
right.
holy cow. And so you come into her house, make demands, and you trust her?
Yeah,
Like, sir,
like
have you been analyzed at all by a psychologist, like by a
He
psychiatrist? Because,
he obviously didn't do his like research into how to be a criminal.
yeah,
yeah,
he didn't really get the footnotes on that.
yeah.
No.
Well, we're gonna learn more about him. Don't worry. So when the police showed up, Esther stated that she had seen one Joseph Mumfree the same night that her first husband, Mike Pepitone, was murdered in their bed. So she is telling police,
This
I
is the guy.
saw this is the guy who I
Okay.
saw that night. So who is Joseph Mumfree? According to the Reveille article I used, Joseph Mumfree was actually the leader of a New Orleans gang who was known for
Knew
targeting
it.
Italians. Yep. In another article, he was also described as a blackhander. And I'm going to give just a quick overview. I talked about this pretty extensively in our main Axeman episode. Blackhand crime was a common type of crime in Italian communities through the United States, like the whole states in the late 18, early 1900s. And it was essentially extortion. The perpetrator would demand money from a victim and threaten them with violence if they wouldn't pay up.
Okay.
So this guy, Mumfree, had apparently been arrested for the attempt at bombing an Italian grocery in 1907. He was,
Dang.
yeah,
Wow.
he was not messing around. He was also a major suspect in the shooting case of the Siambra couple of 1912. This is a possible tie-in with the first murders associated with the Axeman, the murder of Joseph and Catherine Maggio. Bear with me here because it gets a little twisty-turny.
Sure.
At the scene of this, so like I said, this was the first associated I'm sorry, the first murder case associated with the Axeman. At the scene, there was a chalk message that was found stating, Miss Maggio is going to sit up tonight just like Miss Tony. And Tony in the message was spelled Toney.
Okay.
In the case of the Siambra couple, Miss Tony Siambra was shot and killed. I believe her husband survived.
Oh,
And
wow.
like I said, this murder happened in 1912.
Mhm.
Okay.
So there's a spelling difference there,
Hmm.
but if you just heard the name, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If you knew the woman's name or like the husband, I'm
Mhm.
assuming Miss Tony Siambra was like the name,
Yeah.
like after her husband.
Yeah.
If you didn't
Yeah.
know how to spell his name and you just heard it, it could be Tony or Toney.
Well, and I
Gotcha.
would say, like, I don't say my full legal name on the show, but my actual first name is spelled like 20 different ways. Like, there's people that I've known for years that still spell my first name wrong.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get it. Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a weird little tie in there. And then another weird coincidence is Angelo Albano, Esther's second husband, had apparently had business relations with Mumfree before his disappearance.
No
Before
way.
before Angelo's disappearance to
Appearance. Yeah.
yeah. So
What?
there's a lot
What
going
were
on
you
here.
good fellas up to? Like, what were you doing?
What were you lads? What were you
Yeah.
mad lads doing out here? So I'm gonna
It's a
jump
crime, see?
back. Okay.
Kinds of things.
It was we're calling it Moida, see?
Yeah,
Um,
it's murder.
it's Moida. So I'm going to jump back to New Orleans for a minute. Back to Mike Pepitone. Mike Pepitone is commonly thought of as the Axeman's last victim, but the Axeman didn't just disappear entirely. They did seem to move out of New Orleans after the
Mm.
Pepitone murder. But police records from other areas of Louisiana show strikes remarkably similar to those committed in New Orleans. These victims were Joseph Sparrow and his daughter Alexandria, who were murdered in December 1920, and then Giovanni Orlando in January 1921, and Frank Scalassi in April of that same year. And the attacks occurred same way as they had in New Orleans. The murderer would break into an Italian grocery, use the victim's own axe as the murder weapon. So it seems like even though the Axeman might have left New Orleans, he didn't necessarily stop right away.
So do you think he
No,
like,
and probably
oh, go
because
ahead.
like the heat was going to be onto
Yeah.
him,
Yeah,
like, okay, I gotta bail.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like, dude, you're still doing the same stuff. You're leaving a trail. Like,
right,
Get a little further away before you start
wait,
murder.
yeah,
Like, at
yeah,
least get, they're in New Orleans, like, at least get to one of the states in the middle,
right. In the
yeah,
middle of the country,
whatever those states are.
right,
right.
Midwest.
Preferably not Wisconsin.
Lower middle, lower
Yeah,
middle.
yeah.
I don't know, go to Nevada or something.
Yes.
Colorado.
Go west.
Everyone listening in Nevada right now is like, wow. So after 1921, the Axeman supposedly disappeared from history. The same year that Joseph Mumfree was murdered in Los Angeles. Hmm.
So he got
So
it.
now to play devil's advocate, was Mumfree really the guy? Unfortunately, this theory is generally not accepted by the experts. There's definitely circumstantial evidence linking Mumfree to the Axeman crimes. Criminal history targeting Italians, being a suspect in the Siambra murder, as well as the murders stopping in 1921 after Mumfree was killed. Like, that's all very, like, ooh. And from the sounds of it, he wasn't necessarily a great dude anyway. He was definitely out there
Yeah.
committing crimes. However, there is also a fair amount of evidence working against this theory. Per Wikipedia, there are no police, court, or news articles documenting the murder of Mumfree or anyone of a similar name. Full transparency here, the wiki article stated the name Joseph Monfree, Monfre, not Mumfree. But another article stated that Mumfree did supposedly go by other names. So it's possible that Monfree could have been like a pseudonym.
And I'm more likely to believe that. Like,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that seems
And
a little bit more legit. And it sounds like, and even if he was involved, and remember, we saw two people leaving the scene at one
mhm,
point. He could have been involved at one point, and maybe like the other guy or the other person was like, you know what, you're a loose end. Peace out.
sure, sure.
True.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of confusion there. There is also no information documenting that Esther Pepitone or Esther Albano had been in California in the first place.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. As
Huh.
well, there's no evidence was found that she had ever been arrested, tried, or convicted of Mumfree's murder. So that I thought was strange too, because even if it was, I would imagine, okay, this guy broke into my house, he was
Mhm.
threatening me, I shot him.
Right.
Even if it came to be like, okay, you're not going to necessarily have charges brought against you because this was clearly a case of self-defense, there
Mhm.
should be some record of that.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it
And
wouldn't
nothing?
be
Like,
right. No, supposedly no records were ever found.
Were there any newspaper? Like, how did, like, is this just like word of mouth that was floated around or?
I'm
see,
honestly
and I'm
not
such a
sure.
conspiracy theorist. I'm like, who'd you know on the force?
Yeah.
Like, who'd you know to cover
I mean,
that up?
honestly fair.
So, like, is there any record of his death at all?
Uh,
Did he actually exist?
well, that's the thing. He existed, but without there being the record of the murder or that he was in California anyway, it's hard to say.
But what does his death record say?
I don't know. That I couldn't
There isn't
find.
one. He's immortal.
He's yeah.
Yeah, right. Maybe he was a vampire. It was New Orleans originally,
There we go.
remember?
Yeah.
Did he come
True.
out during the day?
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know what time he visited Esther. It
What?
could have been 9 o'clock at night when the sun was down.
The murders were
Right.
at night.
Hmm.
It was a vampire.
It
We
was a
solved it
vampire.
Totally.
using an
I'm a
axe
believer. I'm
instead
thoroughly
of.
convinced based on all of this. Like,
Yes. I love this. I love this for us. We did
Okay,
it, guys.
hear me out. The vampire had broken teeth. That's why it used an axe.
And then he could just
Oh my goodness!
yeah,
And he could just get in the little slot, the door, because he would be a bat or something instead.
right. Just a little.
guys, friends, we got it. I mean, I feel like you guys got it more than I did, so I'm gonna give you guys
I
props.
think so. I'm with you.
This is
Uh-huh.
awesome. I support this 100%.
Is this where you saw this going?
No,
Okay.
I love it. I love this. Was Joseph Mumfree really the mysterious Axeman of New Orleans, or was he simply a target that sort of fit the narrative? At this point, we just don't know, and the case of the Axeman of New Orleans remains unsolved to this day, until now, when Bree and Star solved it.
The vampire.
That's right. Totally a vampire. I love
Totally
it.
a vampire.
Which means then if he plotted like his own death and everything, he could still be alive if
That's
he's a
true.
vampire because he's immortal.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
He could still be there.
I would like to say he changed his ways.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
He's kind of like, I'm bored. Let's do something else.
Yeah, he got some dental work done.
Yeah.
Times evolved and he's like, I could get caps. He
Yeah.
could get some crowns.
He can just break into a blood bank now.
Oh, true.
Totally. Like life is so much easier for a vampire nowadays.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep. He's
I,
doing the most. So that is what I have for the theory behind who the Axeman of New Orleans could be. And this is the point where we kind of just go over all of our closing thoughts. So if you have any thoughts or jump in with whatever.
Oh boy. I don't know. I'm sticking with the vampire thing.
Yeah, same.
And I don't know. I feel like it's just a really, really bizarre case. I don't think I've ever heard of anything like this before.
Yeah.
Either. Like, this is a weird one. And God, I love weird. Like,
Yeah. And it's hard because there was prejudice at this time. Yeah, we talked about that a lot in the case. There was a lot of prejudice towards Italians in this time. There was botched police work. There was just a lot of different stuff that made this case.
And like, why you gotta hate? Why you gotta hate on Italians, man? They got like good food. Leave them alone.
That's very
Let
true.
them live.
Right?
I think there was one family that wasn't Italian that was targeted, but they were still immigrants. They were Polish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm Polish, and I'm like, man, like that's another.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not Polish, but I am French and I am German and I'm Irish.
Ooh,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really a mutt.
That's what a fun mix.
Yeah, and it just and the thing is too is I will never understand that kind of hate.
No.
No.
Like, I'll never understand it.
It's
I don't
so
understand how you can be racist. I don't understand how you can be sexist. I just don't get it. I really don't. Out of all the things going on in the world, that's what you're gonna worry about? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's just, I'll be very straightforward because I can't help myself. I think that's so pathetic.
Yeah.
Like,
And in this case, particularly, this breed of racism was
Yeah.
freaking wild because these immigrants, these Italian immigrants, and I talked about this in the first case, these Italians were coming over trying to build a new life for themselves, and
Yeah.
they worked their butts off.
Yeah.
And at this point, they, they were not, it wasn't necessarily quote unquote slave labor, but it was, of course, it was labor for low wages. It was, they weren't treated well, but they were of the mindset of they didn't. So in this country, there was a certain mindset where if you worked for that kind of pay, you were less than. It was a hangover from slavery. They didn't see it that way. They were like, yeah, we'll take that job. We're going to just save our money up.
Yeah.
And, it sucks
Right.
for a minute, but then we're going to be able to open our own grocery or our own whatever, and we'll be able to make. They didn't have that same kind of mindset, and it made people in this country so angry. So it's like they're literally minding their own business, working their butts off to get what they want. And you're gonna be angry at them for that? Like, it's just a different
Well,
flavor
and that's
of
just it. Like, this just sounds like a projection that you didn't figure out how to do that when it was your time to make that kind of money. And so now you're
Hello.
suffering, and now you want to point the finger at someone because you can't take responsibility.
Yeah.
And to be angry to the point of axe murdering.
Yeah, right?
Like, I mean, it's not okay even if you're not axe murdering. I don't want that to be misconstrued. Like, it's not okay regardless. But to be so upset about someone working hard and being successful that you're going to not just kill them,
right.
but kill them with an axe.
Yes.
That's a brutal pathology.
It really is. Like, that is just,
it's up close, it's personal, and I would think they were trying to get away from the personalization a little bit just because these crimes were perpetrated at night. These people were sleeping, so the person didn't necessarily have to look right in their victim's eyes, but it's still like a brutal.
It
I mean,
is.
Mike Pepitone, he got hit 18 times around the head.
yeah.
That was
It is.
anger. That wasn't just like I'm trying to kill you and get out. That was like, I am enraged.
Yeah,
how I
I'm
read
enraged.
it.
I'm mad at you. I don't like you.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
And it would have had to be premeditated. Yes.
Premeditated.
Yeah, premeditated. Because they would have had to figure out, hey, I mean, I think a lot of them lived in the back of their grocery stores.
Mhm.
But like, you'd have to know, when do they normally go to bed?
Yeah, you're going to have to like stalk them to an extent to
get their schedule.
understand their routines and their schedules.
Mhm.
Like, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Like, that makes me wonder too. Like, did any of them come into the grocery prior and like been like, you know what? I need a cup of brown sugar. You know what I mean?
Right.
And got their
Just-
stuff and left and never thought anything more of it because they were a patron.
Mhm.
So, and that's
they,
creepy. That's even creepier.
Yeah, it is. To stake the scene out, I thought of this too. If they broke in through the grocery, I forget how many cases were broken in through the grocery versus the home's door. But if they were trying to break in through the grocery, they would need to know the layout of that store because presumably
Very
they're
well.
not going to have a light. They're not going to have a lantern. It'll give them
Mhm.
away. So they would have to navigate in the dark. It's just, there's a lot in this case.
Yeah, there is.
And
So wild.
Yeah.
I imagine something like this would be much harder to pull off today because, I mean, security cameras in every business, basically.
Everything. I mean,
So
nowadays, like, wow, you think about like even there are things now like certain stores require like a thumbprint and a
Yeah.
code and like you've got to have all that stuff. And I mean, there's ways like obviously because I watch way too many crime shows on how you can like mimic a fingerprint and all that kind of stuff, but that would take nowadays, I feel like this would take serious Ocean's 11 style
Yeah.
planning.
yeah, sure, sure. And there were some
And
cases
thank
that,
goodness for that, by the way.
yeah,
Like, thank goodness for
truly.
that.
Truly. There were some cases in this, well, some instances in this case, I guess I should say, that didn't quite necessarily need as much pre-planning. So one of the victims that really breaks my heart, I mentioned her. She was a
Mm,
young woman that she just happened to leave a window open in her home. So it's like with things like
poor
that,
soul.
it was, but it's still like to come in, I think she might have been hit with the bedside lamp.
Oh man.
I can't remember that for certain, so I don't want anyone to quote me for gospel. But again, it just like there's no reason for this. And as if I remember correctly, there was also no like robbery occurring. This was just like, and I'm angry and I want to kill
Hmm.
someone.
Yeah. And
Which,
that's crazy because my thought would be like, okay, if you're going to like take out this person's life, wouldn't you also end up like taking over the grocery and filing through and like grabbing all the money, grabbing
Yeah.
like,
looting, burglar,
make
yeah,
sure you got some snacks for the road kind of thing? Like, like
yeah.
seriously.
I know. It's insane. It's just
It
insane
is.
and
But
sad.
this is such a good story. Like this kind of stuff still needs to be brought to attention, like
Hmm.
seriously, because it's how we learn. Like that's probably why maybe because of the Axeman, maybe that's why we do have fingerprint entries now. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's true. Was this the case? And I'm trying to remember if this is something that we talked about or there was a BuzzFeed Unsolved episode about this is how I learned about this murder thing with
Okay.
BuzzFeed Unsolved before they were Watcher. Was there, am I making this up? Was there something about like he sometimes grabbed the axe from the people's house?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He would
Okay.
use their axe.
Their own axe, yeah.
Hmm. Yep. Which again, like the confidence, and it makes, I guess it makes more sense that time. You're going to be more likely to
Have an
have,
axe,
that's
yeah.
just an everyday tool if you're chopping wood for your fire or your cook stove, your wood stove, to not even bring anything in with you. Because a lot of the weapons were
In the house.
in the house, or
Yeah.
in the case of the one murder that occurred, it was a straight razor. The
Hmm.
person or the person's brother, I forget which one, was a barber,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
the straight razor was at the barber shop. So.
Do you think there's less things in modern people's houses to use as murder weapons?
I don't know. If anything, I think there's more nowadays
Yeah.
than there used to be because there's like so many different ways that you can make a weapon out of household
Yeah.
items.
Hmm.
Because they talk about that kind of stuff like in self-defense classes and everything, like what you can readily use. And I mean, there are things like scarves and towels
Yeah.
and
Oh,
like
true.
you like shoelaces if you need
Hmm.
to that you can turn into weapons. And it's like you wouldn't think you could, but you totally can.
Hmm.
Well,
And
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Did they have any other potential suspects, or was it just maybe this guy or a vampire?
I think they had some here and there throughout the case, but then it was just they just didn't pan out, you know. And I get again, I say a lot of it I think had to do with some botched police work, and I mean they
Hmm.
were, if I remember correctly, they were even like fixing the doors where they were where this murderer was chiseling out the door panel. They were
Hmm.
on the scene fixing the door. It's like, brother, no, you
Yeah.
can't do that. Like, and
Right.
I, granted, forensics back then was a lot different than forensics today. I don't know when fingerprinting started. That would actually be a really fun.
That would probably be way after that.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
certainly wasn't at that time. So, but still, like just the idea of like being able to see a crime scene and
Let's
like
find
take it
out.
in.
Oh yes, we all have the like the little computers in our hands now.
Yes, and it's so wonderful.
I wonder if the police, okay, so part of it, three options. Option one is they just weren't thinking and fixed it. Option two is like tampering. Option three is like, oh, I'm gonna help this family out. I'm gonna fix their door.
Hmm. And it could have been any. I mean, there's police that have done that in cases, and it's not even necessarily that they're attempting to like cover anything or ruin evidence, but it happened in the Lizzie Borden case. The way Lizbeth Borden's stepmother fell, her skirt went up and all of her underpinnings were
That's
showing,
right.
and one of the officers was like trying to give her the dignity and he covered her, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you can't do that.
Protect the modesty, yeah.
Yeah. And it happened in the was it the Black Dahlia case that happened to? I can't remember.
You're more into true crime than I am.
Fair.
So, fun fact, fingerprinting started back in 1858.
Oh, wow.
And it started in India. And
Oh.
then it wound up like coming over to America, and the FBI adopted it in 1924.
So not that
Whoa.
long after.
Yeah, it wasn't that long after. And maybe that was part of it. Maybe they're like, we should probably get some fingerprints on this stuff.
Yeah, we should probably start
Yeah.
adding this to our arsenal of forensics.
Yeah.
That would be a fun episode in and of itself, just like describing like the kind of the history of
The fingerprint.
forensics.
Oh,
Right.
forensics, yeah.
And
That'd
that
be a
is pretty
huge
wild.
episode.
Like, started in the 1800s, but it didn't make it over to, and it started in India. Like,
Yeah.
funny to find out the origins of things like that too.
Wild.
And I have to wonder too, and this is just me strictly speculating, did we not start using that in this country because good old racism?
Right.
You know?
Oh,
Yeah.
ain't that the truth?
Like,
You could
did
be
we
onto
just-
something there.
Yeah. Did we just look at that and go, oh, that's from another country, we're not interested? Which that's strictly speculation.
Could be
I'm
it
not
too,
saying
yeah.
that for
Right.
certain, but
Mhm.
shall we dive into our final question?
Oh yes, I forgot about those already. Do you have any other thoughts, Star?
No, nope,
Okay.
that's it.
What drew you to this topic?
I had seen this theory in my original Axeman research and thought it would be good to just delve into it for this snapshot. Like, plain and simple.
Fair enough. Was there anything that you wanted to research more into? Anything like that?
At this point,
Fingerprinting?
Yeah, fingerprinting. At this point, not necessarily, just because it was already pretty difficult to find research into this case in the first place, like what I would consider to be like reliable information. If there's anything new that comes up on it, I would love to hear it because this is one of those like I really wish this case would be solved because it's just awful.
hmm
But
What did you find the most strange about this topic?
just how like Mumfree on the surface does look like the perfect suspect for this, but then also once you dig a little deeper into it, just how there's just no record on him. Like where is this man's death certificate? Where is the reporting around his supposed murder? Like what happened
He's a
here?
vampire.
That's true. Vampire.
We're sticking to it.
Plot twist. Anne Rice actually wrote his story in the interview with a vampire. That would
Right?
be my
Love Anne Rice.
yeah. I'm trying to get through Interview with a Vampire right now, so it's on the
Okay.
forefront of my mind.
Hey, Star, did we ask you to tell the listeners where they can find you yet?
I don't think
Oh.
so.
So
Yes. So you
Go for
can
it.
find. All right. So you can find me over at a Creepy Shit Podcast. It's creepy_shit_podcast on Instagram. And guess what? I'm also now on the TikTok. I took the TikTok dive. So I
Yes.
am at Creepy Host Star on TikTok.
Creepy host star. I love that.
Yes.
That's fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us today again. This was a lot of fun. It was a
Yes,
blast,
thank
and I hope you
you.
enjoyed. Yes.
all right. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a suggestion for a strange or mysterious topic, a comment about an episode, or just want to chat, please reach out.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, and YouTube. Comment directly on episodes on Spotify and YouTube, or leave a review of the podcast as a whole on either Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Find us on Instagram at something_strange_pod, on Facebook at Something Strange Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at something_strange_pod, and check out our strange content over at TikTok at somethingstrangepod01.
You can also send us a Gmail at somethingstrangepod24@gmail.com, and the 24 is numeric. Well, strangers, it's time for us to part ways.
Until we meet again, keep those detective caps handy.
and we'll be back with another
Something
Something
strange.
Strange.